Welcome to Backstreet Gossip, news talk, current events, and political commentary with your host, Uncle Ronnie. And now here's your host, Uncle Ronnie.
Hey, welcome to the show tonight. You know, this is gonna be hard to believe. Last week it was snowing up in the mountains. And
What?
Today it hit about 90 degrees, I guess, today.
I have my Aloha shirt on.
I know
It is
And I have my
summertime.
snow clothes on.
He's wearing his grass skirt, too. At any rate, we're back here with Ray Michaels.
Hello, everybody. Well, I missed you, Uncle Ronnie.
I know.
It's
We
been a
missed you,
couple
too.
weeks. I've been
Special
on
assignment.
I've been on assignment. I've been traveling around, finding out a lot of details about things that are going on, but I can't share them with you yet.
Okay.
Should I leave the room?
Well, we're going to introduce you in a minute.
Okay.
You know, if this guy looks like a Ninja Turtle, that's because he was in a former life. And this is Bobby Herbeck, star of stage and screen, and this guy's done everything. He's a screenwriter. He's an actor. I've seen you on. I think you were playing a part of a corpse in one of the movies I saw.
No, that was Kevin Costner. What was the movie? Remember where they all had the reunion, the class reunion?
Right.
And William Hurt, and they all became big stars.
Yeah, that was the Big Easy. Was it? No. What was it?
Costner's role in that movie, he was the body in the coffin that he was the fraternity brother that had died.
Oh,
that
he
was
was
his claim to fame. Yeah.
what was it?
Well, then his claim.
Yeah, Glenn Close was in that.
How we doing on the sound there,
Can
mister?
you hear me over there, buddy?
Okay, good. Hey, listen,
I can
before
do
we
this.
get going, we're going to bandy around a lot of things tonight, but I just wanted to thank you for tuning in, and I want to ask you to do some favors. You know, I've been telling people subscribe, and people have said, well, where's the subscribe button? Well, I found out that the subscribe button is the like button. So push the like button and you subscribe and you'll be notified of our shows. And so
Who knew?
Who would have thought?
Who's gonna know?
I mean, I didn't know that. And one of the things is maybe some of you have heard our rent has gone up here, Ray.
What?
Our rent has gone up. And
Jeez, what a shock.
While we want to continue to do free programming for all of you, if you go to our website, BackstreetGossip.com, you can now donate some money to help us pay the rent and keep our free programming on. Because if
And
we
the
don't-
breaking news. I mean,
That
a lot
is
of stuff.
breaking news.
We have breaking news right here, and then it goes, and it's on some national a couple days later.
So we do have a page now. Chris Chavez
Here, I'm
put
giving
that
you
up.
5 now.
Oh,
okay,
gosh.
that's a down payment.
Okay,
Wow.
and I'll match you 5.
Okay.
I thought that's
Okay.
from the
Look at
poker
this.
game last
We
night.
got our
no?
first donation.
That was,
50.
that was for the strip club when I
it's a
go
fi-
later.
It was for the water.
Can you break this into ones, please?
At any rate, so if any of you would like
Any
to do that,
change.
please go to our website, Backstreet Gossip, and there's a donation page there, and we are accepting donations. Our rent has gone up considerably.
And you may want to mention nothing goes to you, nothing comes to me,
no.
nothing. It's all to take care of us.
Bills,
Yeah,
the rent,
bills.
the internet,
Right.
the lights, and we don't get paid. And
You people are heroes. I'm serious. All of
well,
you.
thank you. We do this for the cause. But at any rate, I met this quiet and introverted gentleman, Bobby. And I mean, I had to bring him out. I mean, he was just totally quiet and shy. And I met him a couple of weeks ago at one of our. You weren't there that.
No.
night for our
What were you
breakfast.
doing at the event? There's got to
I
be a
was
reason.
He was a waiter.
You were lost?
I was lost.
Yeah.
I said,
Where's the waffles?
isn't this an LDS meeting? Am I at the wrong meeting? Golly.
I thought he was the waiter.
I was invited by Tim Horn to come to the breakfast.
So you're buddy with Tim Horn.
I didn't say I was buddies.
Oh,
I said I
that's a
was
mark
invited.
against you
invited,
if you're
all
a
right,
friend of
all
Tim
right.
He's
Horn.
too classy for me. So
That's right. It's the French cuffs, isn't
just
it?
wanna
That he
know-
wears for breakfast.
Well, I want to know who did the teeth. That's all I want to know.
So, at any rate, one of the really interesting things here about Bobby is he's a local guy, homegrown, and he.
Yeah.
got
Are you
him-
from here?
Yeah.
Where were you?
Well,
were
I'm
you?
from my mother originally.
Yeah. Well,
I
you.
tell
yeah.
people this.
Yeah. I'm trying to
Shocked.
get back to my original weight as
Really,
well.
what it is my dad was in the Air Force. He was a pilot, 26 years, and we got stationed at Williams Air Force Base back in 1910. And I went to Chandler High, and was never going to go to ASU.
Chandler High, home of the mighty
Wolves.
Wolves.
That's right. The
Wow.
Wolves.
Yeah, didn't Kevin Costner dance with them?
Kevin Costner was in a school play, and he was in the coffin. Called Death of a Salesman.
I thought it was Dances with Wolves. No, it's okay.
So, at any rate, when I met Bobby, I thought, well, okay, what's your claim to fame?
Well, he said he'd never go to ASU,
Yeah.
and you ended up going to ASU.
What it was is I went out to California to work. I left the day after high school to get the hell out of here. My mom said, "Don't you want to stay at least a week?" I said, "No, I want to go now."
Yeah, it's 120 degrees outside. I want
So
to go.
you were-
Went to San Francisco and worked up in San Francisco for a summer. Then I went down to Pasadena there was an audition for the Pasadena Playhouse
Right.
for a scholarship. And I got it. And I went there for about a month. And I won't go into details why I left, but I got the hell out of there after a month. It's getting a little tight, a little close.
The police behind you?
And no. And I called my dad crying, and he said, "Just get in your car and drive back, or you want us to come and follow you back?" Or I said, "No, Dad, I can get back." And my dad, "You come back, you're going to college." So I begrudgingly enrolled at ASU. And fast forward, was at an ASU SC game. My son was 14 at the Coliseum. September, hot day, beautiful women left and right. My son leans over and says, "Pop, was it like this when you went to ASU?" I didn't even look at him. I said, "Best 8 years of my life." He goes, "I thought it only took 4. I said, "Not if you're smart, but I'm only paying for 4. Gets to that senior year and go, "I think I'll just take one class and change a major. I'm not ready to get out of here."
Okay, what was your major?
I was in mass communications, and Al Michaels and I used to do the baseball games together.
Did you really?
Yes,
Al
did.
Michaels.
Al
Michaels.
Michaels.
Is that your dad?
No relation.
No,
We
Ray
used to do the
Michaels and
baseball
Al
game
Michaels?
together. So years later, now whenever I would see Al in L.A. before we moved here, but I'm from here, remember, not L.A. When we moved, I see Al, and Al would introduce me, and Bobby and I went to ASU together, and I'd always go, "Yeah," and he got me fired. And he'd go, "No, I didn't." I said, "You got me fired doing the baseball games." Because I'd always bring some comedy or a story to the game.
Right.
Doing a ditch and dine with Sal Bando, my roommate at the time and fraternity brother. And we went to Mesa to Bob's, and they said, "Hey, we're going to do a ditch and
Sal
dine."
Bando. I've heard that.
And so
name.
they say, "You in the bathroom, drive the car home, come out the window." They leave, got this ticket, I go in the bathroom, slide the window, there's bars on the window. I am totally screwed. and they pull up and says, "Come on." I says, "You want to help me get through the bars?" So busted and out of ASU for a semester. At the time, I was a cheerleader at ASU. And Frank Cush was very happy to see me.
I bet you
go.
look good in a skirt.
Huh?
I bet you look good in a skirt.
Well, I was a little busy, But back then you didn't do what they do now. We weren't gymnasts. You
You didn't throw you up in the
I
air.
was
and
on
have
the
it-
mic. It was
Right.
on a microphone. It was a
Right.
stand-up gig. It was. But I would get kicked out all the time. I had 53,000 people when we got a penalty. I started the cheer, and whenever we got a penalty, I had all these people yelling, "Elevator, elevator, we got the shaft." And I'm pulled off the squad on Monday morning. And then all reinstated on Saturday because the ball player said, "Little Bobby don't go, we're not playing." And Coach said, "Who is this guy?" He called me the Curse. This guy is the Curse. And we became pals afterwards. But at first, he didn't like me. Can I tell a quick story?
I think you are.
You already have.
But no, I can't tell you. I'll tell you the story off mic.
Yeah.
But it's me going out to
Well, this
ball
is
players
this is
dragging me
an
out to
adult
go out
show.
for football.
This is an adult show, Bobby.
Cush running me off the field, whistling, other end of the field, yelling, "Get that midget off my field!" And I'm catching punts, and I go, "There's a midget here?" I'm 5'6". Well, now I'm 5'2". And I go, "There's a midget here?" And they go, "The coach is talking about you, Bobby, I think." I said, "Well, he's no giant." And he's coming marching towards, he wasn't big, but he was very strong.
yeah.
He's coming my way, and I said, "Get that dwarf off my field." And I'm going, "I think he could kick my butt." "Oh, he gonna mop you up." So I ran around him, and I said, "I'm gonna make your life a living hell," and I left.
Wow.
And then I became the cheerleader. Once again, the jocks took me down to the student union and threw me to the wolves. Said, "You're gonna be a cheerleader now. We want you on the road with us. You're fun." The rest is history.
Oh, yeah.
I should have named the stadium after me.
Well, you
not
had a
Frank.
colorful beginning.
Huh?
Yeah.
You had a colorful
Leave the
beginning.
color out of this.
What year was this?
19th.
Yeah.
I was there 64 to 69.
Wow.
What a great year, 69.
And it's changed so much. You've been on the campus now. You can't
crazy.
even. You can't even see Manzanita anymore.
crazy.
That used to be
Well,
the
it's
place
all-
to
That's
hang
when
wall
they
to
built
wall.
that when I was there.
Wow.
And when we were there, the mall was a street called Orange Avenue, and we go have dinner, the jocks and all of us, in Best A dorm, before I went into a fraternity. And we stand behind the orange trees and we'd pepper cars when they came to the intersection.
Well, that's
If it
wall
was
to
like a
wall. That's
professor
wall
that
to
we didn't
wall
like, we
buildings.
just nail the car.
Well, yeah,
That's
and you were
wall-to-wall buildings.
You were
They
there. I
used to
think
have a
the
campus
flour mill
there.
was still operational, wasn't it?
The Hayden Mills?
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was mules and stagecoaches.
There were yes, and you.
Mill Avenue was a ghetto. It was not what it is today. I'd have never gotten out of ASU. Mill Avenue was what it is today.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we know they threw you out of college,
Multiple times.
and then how did you get back to writing and screenplays and
I
acting?
always, you know what though? Seriously, I always did. I was born you're born with the funny bone. That's just God gives you that. My mom's family, everybody was funny. My uncle was the funniest man in the world. And in high school, I would do the assemblies and I would do Jack Kennedy off stage, well, let me say this about that. And we'd have assemblies and I started writing, but not consciously doing this, just writing sketches and stuff. Just everything, all roads lead to somewhere. And I went to Hollywood as an actor, not even stand-up, just as an actor, and I got a part. I got a great agent. Back then, the agents took you around to the studios to meet the head of casting. You go to Universal. This is a true story. There's me and one other guy sitting in the waiting room. Real tall, good-looking guy. Really good-looking. And we're laughing at each other, talking, and I got called in first to meet all the casting directors, the head of casting. And as I walked down the hallway, all the girls go, who's the guy out there? I said, nah, he's not into women. No, not at all. Just pass on him. Yeah. And so I go in, meet a guy named Joe Rich. Tells my agent, have Bobby come back, I want him to read for something. I end up getting a part in a series called The Outsider with Darren McGavin, where he was a gumshoe, detective and drove an old blue Plymouth. I got a job the very first day, and my agent goes, this doesn't usually happen. Don't get spoiled. It could be years before you get another gig. So I come out, now Tom's going in next. Oh, I gave it away. Tom's going in next, and I said, good luck, but I don't think you're going to make it. You're too short, you're not good looking. It was Tom Selleck.
Tom
He
Selleck.
was 1969. He was just starting his acting career. And so I saw him at Sherwood Country Club years later. And I came and introduced myself, and he looked at me and said, I know I know. He says, yeah. And I replayed this story to him. And I said, by the way, how'd things work out for you, man? Did you stay in the business? And he just started laughing. Did the same thing to Al Michaels. I ran into him years later at a Barnes & Noble. It's a Herbeck. And this is when Ninja Turtles was just out in the theaters. And Al goes, is that your name on the Ninja Turtles? I said, yeah. That's really cool. So what you been up to? Oh, 10 minutes on me. And then when we're done, I looked at Al and I said, so where'd you end up? What'd you end up doing? He said, then he said that day, this is why I got you fired, he said. See, he caught to it.
Geez. Okay, now, you've already let the cat out of the bag about the
What
Ninja
cat?
Turtle. Yeah. Meow. The Ninja Turtles. How on earth did you get involved with Ninja Turtles?
True story.
Oops.
All right,
Some of
I'm
these people
curious.
were on the
Before
air.
we talk about this,
Sure.
Uncle Ronnie, name the 4 Ninja Turtles.
Manny, Mo, Jack,
One more.
and it started with an A.
Harold.
It started with an A. Antonio.
This is an old Karnak bit.
Yeah.
Remember Karnak on
Yeah.
the Tonight Show?
And
He'd
the
go like
answer
this. He'd
is
go, Manny, Mo, and Jack. Manny, Mo, and Jack. Name 2 Jews and a cheese. Manny, Mo, and Jack. Chicken teriyaki. Chicken teriyaki. Who's the only surviving kamikaze pilot? Chicken teriyaki.
Okay,
Written by Pat
so
McCormick.
now how in the world did you come up with this
I
idea
didn't.
of
I wrote the
turtles that
movie.
were
I would like everybody's-
radiated from the sewers of New York or
So
wherever they were?
he wrote the movie.
This was a comic book, graphic comic book.
Okay.
That Peter Laird and Kevin Eastman wrote. I know, but I'm not hearing me on this. Are you picking me up on this? On the mic? Anyway, so these 2 guys wrote the comic book. It just become a series on TV that the toys, Playmate Toys, actually paid for the pilot, which is unheard of. Usually it's a production company.
Right.
They paid for the pilot. It got sold, and during that time, I got I got my first movie to write gig. I had done some stand-up at a lunch. The guy sitting next to me at the table runs Golden Harvest, which is the production company out of Hong Kong. They did the Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan movies.
Oh, cool.
So I'm working for everything I tell when I go talk to kids, don't give up. everything's timing, happens, it's fate, it's just timing. But timing doesn't just exist, you have to keep going forward.
Right.
So I'm writing, I meet Tom at my table, I could do some stand-up, I come and sit down, he said, God, he said, that was really good, is that what you do? I said, yeah, that, and I'm doing audience warm-up work for Norman Lear's shows, Different Strokes, Jefferson's, which they gave me parts always on the shows, and they're the ones that pushed me into writing. Punching up scripts, polishing, making the jokes funnier, and then Howard Leeds, the guy who created Different Strokes, one day said, hey, schmuck, come and pitch some stories. Well, now I got 3 hats going. I got acting, warm-up, and writing going. I'm going, this is great. Dick Clark hired me. I was his first warm-up man ever for the blooper show.
Wow.
And it was a trial run because they said, Dick likes to be the funny guy, so you got to play straight to him. Otherwise, you're out the door. So I just let him be.
I can't imagine you as a straight guy.
Oh, there's been a lot of money on me. I did a show with Henry Kissinger, and there was a $300 bet that I couldn't pull off the straight guy on it, and I did. Henry got the laughs. I got the 300 bills. So there was a bet on it.
It's nothing to laugh about.
Anyway, I'm sorry. So I'm writing this movie. I sell a movie. Tom Gray says, why don't you come in tomorrow and you got any movie ideas? She sure. Call me tomorrow at 9 and we'll set up a meeting. So I came in. Sidebar story. Turns out Tom Gray, my boss at Golden Harvest, went to the U of A while I was at ASU. He was a Fiji at the U of A. I was a Fiji at ASU. We started remembering each other. We said, wait a minute, we used to party together. So again, timing, networking is very important.
You never know who you're going to meet.
And so I went in, pitched a movie, he bought it. And I'm writing the movie, and my buddy Kim Dawson, who at that time was producing and directing Gallagher's Showtime specials. And Kim I had done some stand-up, some of Kim's shows. Ron Lucas, we did a show for Disney for Ron, and I was on the show and wrote on the show. And anyway, Kim knew I was working for Golden Harvest, and Kim calls me and says, hey, meet me for lunch. I met him at an In-N-Out Burger in Westminster. We still say there should be a plaque there. He brings me the stuff on Ninja Turtles, VHS. For you who don't know what a VHS, look it up. VHS, and it's a comic book and this and that, and gives me the pitch, and I got it right away. I said, let me run with it. He said, you're working for the company that has the best martial arts guys. You just put them in the costumes and we dub the voices. This is, and they had made a deal with Kevin and Peter, basically what they call a cocktail napkin agreement, that, hey, you've got so many days to try to get this set up. So I go to my boss, back to Tom, and he goes, what? What is it? Turtles. And he called them Pigeon Ninja Turtles. He said, Herbs, finish the movie I'm paying you for. I don't want to turn. I went and wallpapered Hollywood pitching this movie. I got laughed and snickered out of every meeting. And Brian Grazer and Ronnie Howard, the whole meeting are going, Turtles. What's their names again? Raphael, Donatello. You weren't close.
You're not at
Leonardo.
all.
And they go, they talk.
And Michelangelo.
Yeah. I walked out of that meeting and their glass doors closed and they just broke out in big laughter. My agent calls me in and says, I don't know what you did, but they call and said, who's the stoner that just came in here with the turtle thing? They thought this was the dumbest idea in the world. Not at the premiere. They walked up to me at the premiere and Brian Grazer said, we screwed up. I said, it hasn't opened yet. He said, no, it's going to do great. We screwed up. So again, don't give up. And we had our 30th anniversary last year, unfortunately all virtual. Got all ready for San Diego Comic-Con and New York and these Comic-Cons. Everything was here on a screen,
Wow.
on a computer. Our fan base, which is huge to this day on Instagram, they say, last year doesn't count, this year. And as we sit here now, this is the anniversary of the second Turtle movie that came out. They had that out exactly a year later. So back to back, because it did. We held a box office, I think, 3 months. It was us and Pretty Woman, back and forth. So when we got the People's Choice Awards, Richard Gere and Julia Roberts were emceeing it. And they wouldn't even look at us. They would just had this attitude. And we couldn't figure out what the hell was going on. And my producing buddy goes, you know why we're getting this attitude? And I said, why? He said, because we were fighting it out at the box office with them.
Right.
We took money out of their pocket. They don't like us. I said, well, that's too bad. So they didn't win the award. We did.
Wow.
And the winner of the People's Choice Award is Ninja Turtles, who were going, guys.
It was a brilliant idea. They're teenage, right? The teenagers are going to love it.
perfect timing,
They're
everything.
mutants. For some reason, teens like mutants. They were ninjas. Everybody wants to be a ninja, and they were turtle. Everybody who doesn't like a turtle?
Listen, I could bore you. And if you go online, if you go on YouTube, you go to TMNT 1990 movie. That's our website we have. We're also on YouTube. We had a reunion last May 23rd with the entire cast, with Steve Barron, the director. Oh God, who's the Sesame Street? Our guy, the guy who created Sesame Street. Anyway, Brian Henson.
Right.
Henson's son. Those guys are the guys that created those costumes, which people have no idea. There was 4 people working those costumes with the actor in them.
Wow.
And they tried to air condition them like the astronaut suits because they shot it in Wilmington at this studio that De Laurentiis built, and there was no air conditioning in the building. It was in July. It was hot and humid. And how these guys, the guys doing the turtles, lived through that. Plus, when you see the stunt works, that's another set of Asian guys that were, who were
In
the
the suits,
Bruce Lee,
yeah.
Jackie Chan. They put them in costumes, a lighter costume, not because they didn't have to do all the mechanical stuff, the hands and the lips moving and stuff. It was a real production, and it was years ahead of its time. And now we have our fan base is really pushing us to do a reboot of that first movie because they want them back in the costumes. They don't want to see the animation, the CGI, because then Michael Bay, what happened was Viacom bought the whole franchise, right? And so it went to Nickelodeon on TV, and then Paramount makes the last couple of movies that Michael Bay directed. And Michael Bay totally screwed the look up. They have these transformer bodies and these little Zika virus heads about the size of a grapefruit. My grandson got in my lap, first trailer he saw on that new look, and he said, "Pop, why'd you make him so scary looking?" I said, "I had nothing to do with this." Now they've got Seth Rogen, and his team is writing the 7th movie, and they're going to do animated. But the fans out there want to see live action, the lovable ones that were in the first 4 movies.
Well, when you go to Comic-Con, I mean, these guys dressed in... Guys are there, right?
Oh yeah!
And they're
Oh my
dressed
gosh!
in
Yeah.
all of these
These
outfits?
guys tour. You probably know these guys. These guys tour the country in these costumes. Not just Turtle, Batman, Spider-Man. They make a bloody fort. They go all over the world.
Now, Uncle Ronnie. So you have Michelangelo, Donatello, Leonardo, and
Da Vinci.
Raphael, right?
Raphael's pretty much me.
What do you think is their favorite food?
Flies. French flies.
Okay,
Get
let's
it?
go.
French flies.
Let's go to the toad board.
And the answer is...
Pizza. Pizza. They love
Audience
pizza.
answer is...
And they have a master, the ninja master.
Splinter.
And you know what he is?
No.
What character? He's not a turtle.
No.
Do you know what he is?
No, how would I know? I'm not a Ninja Turtle. I'd never even
This
seen
is
the
from
movie.
the first movie poster. So
Pretty
you
cool.
don't see Splinter in this. But Splinter is a rat. He's the He's the Godfather.
He's the
Yeah,
one.
because
oh,
they're in
yeah.
the sewers.
sewer.
Yeah, he's the yeah.
I brought those for you guys.
Okay.
I don't know, you can't see this, but those
But
of
you
you
that are big
But if I may,
turtle fans,
I
this
get,
is
yeah,
Hey, dude,
I get
this is
serious
no
about this.
cartoon.
There's a great lesson I tell the kids on this. No one believed in it except for the core group. I wouldn't give up. My buddies wouldn't give up. And thank God my boss at Golden Harvest kept saying, "Herbs, don't bring that to me again." The ninja finished the movie. So one night we went and had a drink, and it dawned on me, he said something about his kids. I said, "That's right, you got a 10 and a 12-year-old at home. When you go home tonight, ask them about it." Because back then, this is 89.
Well,
88.
it was the TV
Yeah,
shows.
but my point is, the parents weren't home watching TV. The kids were. For those of you who are really young, there was a thing. It used to be Xboxes and PlayStations, and these, and iPads. Kids watched TV.
yes.
And the shows were on TV. And I told Tom, I said, when you get home tonight, ask your kids. By the time this is in Beverly Hills, I got back to Long Beach where I live. I had an old record-a-call, which used to be a phone answer machine. And I had a message on there from Tom, Herbs, nickname for Herbeck. Herbs Babes. Those 2 words means I've closed the deal. Get your buddy and meet me for breakfast in the morning. And we went in, ran it by him, the whole thing, and he was, at the end of breakfast, he was sliding out of booth, and he was going, nah, and then Kim said, you have to think of the ancillary market on this. The licensing, that slid his butt back in the booth. Yeah, the ancillary, yeah. You got to think about what, this is going to be pajamas, this is going to be sheets, and bedspreads, and da-da-da. Next thing I know, I go home, he calls me, he says, pack a suitcase, we're going to Northampton, Mass, where Peter and Kevin were, the creators. We have to convince them we're the company to make this movie. And we went there, did that, got back, and then I went back there for about 6 weeks because they had to sign off on the story for the movie, which took forever. Because when I meet with them, either one liked the idea or the other one didn't. This went on.
Okay, so these are the guys that wrote the original.
These are the guys who created the whole thing. Yes.
Okay, and then you wrote the screenplay.
I wrote the screenplay.
Okay, now, and you're trying to sell them on the concepts that you're seeing, the
trying to get a story that they feel is in their swing plane and what they were creating. Because the first comic book they did, I should have brought one, is a like a charcoal, black and white comic. It's about that big. It's a graphic comic book. Very dark, very serious. Some levity in it. But my job, once again, punching up a script, was to bring this thing more forward. The real sculpting of the script to me was we'd have these meetings. You didn't want to write down to the kids. You wanted to find a middle ground because you knew the parents were going to take them. Mm-hmm. So you didn't want a movie where the parents are going like, oh God. You wanted the parents to go home and say, hey, Ron, take your kids to this movie. It's really cute. And that's what happened. Because in my business, it's butts in the seat and you want them to come back again and again. The more they come back, whole paradigm's changed today. But back then, it was butts in the seat. And I made it, my boss and I, the week it was going to open, he was going to go to New York, it was going to open there first, 3 hours ahead. And he said, we were going to lunch. We were right where, you know LA, right where Wilshire and Santa Monica cross. We were right at that light going to lunch. And Tom goes, what do you think it's going to do? And I said, I think we're going to do 20 million. He said, which was a lot then. He said, that movie opens at 20 million. Golden Harvest will buy you anything you want. Just then, this beautiful black two-door Mercedes convertible pulled up. I said, I want one of those. He said, you got a deal, Herbs.
Ooh.
It opened at, I think it opened at 23 or something, 23 or 24 million dollars. And I never saw the car.
What?
I tell people to this day, never got a car. It's like red buttons. Never got a dinner. Never got the car.
Let me ask you this. You had already written several plays before, screenplays
I had written a lot of TV. I wrote for Different Strokes.
Was this your first movie then?
This was the first movie I wrote that got made, yes. Uh-huh. Yeah, and people don't know. All the crappy movies out there, it's hard. I'm in the middle of, I've been on dealing with a contract for a year and a half now for a movie at Sony Columbia called Caught Red-Handed. That's going to get done. It's just between COVID and everything, it has taken forever. And people see these terrible movies and they look at me like I'm responsible. Why did somebody don't ask me. I want to know why they made it.
Yeah, because what it takes to get
so
to
hard.
that point, and which you have like 200 submissions and they make like five of the pictures or something.
Let me tell you real quick.
It's outrageous.
I'm going to drop Clint Eastwood's name. I'll pick it up. Okay. I know Clint. I call him Big Saggy Bag of Bones and he calls me Shorty.
Is that really his name?
Clint Eastwood?
Yeah.
To my knowledge.
Okay.
They told him he'd never make it. He squinted too much. Yeah, they told him he would never make it.
He's a great man. 90, going on 91, just finished a film in New Mexico this year.
Well,
he's still
not only an actor, but he's a producer, director, and I think he writes.
They call him the boss.
Yeah.
You know, and he's just a wonderful guy. Anyway, I have a script that he liked. The only reason he came back to me and said, Shorty, it's too many people. I don't want to work. It's about the White House press corps. No one's made a movie about the White House press corps.
What press corps?
And no,
I didn't know there was.
I had a buddy. This is how old it. I had a buddy that was the first CNN correspondent, Bob Berkowitz, and he'd come out to California with Reagan, and I was single, and I'd hang with him, and go up to San Ynez, and just hang with the press corps, and I'm seeing this side of the press corps, and I'm working. I got my hiatus for TV, and I went back to D.C. Got me in the press corps for 2 weeks.
Do you know what that music means?
We're done? Or are you going to a break?
That means we're going to go on a break.
I love this song.
And Okay, we'll let you listen while
Does
I
anybody
close
really
this
know
out.
what time it is?
I don't know. At any rate, we'll be right back. Cowabunga!
Cowabunga, dude!
In a world where security matters more than ever, Lionheart Security Services stands head and shoulders above the competition. Whether it's airport security, high-rise residential and office security, event security, warehouse security, or even personal security, call the best of the best. Lionheart Security Services. We provide armed and unarmed officers. Our armed officers are held to the strictest standards of 90% accuracy, 20% higher than Arizona standards. When it comes to securing you, your goods, and services. Call Lionheart Security Services, 480-485-2304, or find them on the web at lionheartsecurityservices.com. Today, the world is full of misinformation. News stories on the surface may seem real, but under closer scrutiny are fake. Corruption and fraud are everywhere. There's a better political news and information website, BackstreetGossip.com, where you'll find the latest stories and information that's circling the media world. You'll see stories of the day and stories that will be discussed tomorrow. BackstreetGossip.com will provide you with informative content that any reader would be amazed to gossip about. BackstreetGossip.com, providing information from Earth and beyond.
You are truly an amazing woman. Tell us the name of your company.
It's Janet King. Well, DBA MNR Janet King. I've been doing this for 18 years, and I have 70 employees working for me. I do commercial cleaning. If you guys need any commercial,
Yeah, you're here in the Valley.
I'm here in the Valley. I work in Chandler, Tempe, Mesa, Phoenix, everywhere. And now after coronavirus and March 18, 20, I'm doing fogging and completely total disinfecting of any facility. You have an active case in your facility, call me, I'll take care of you.
So you take care of homes, it could be adult living, anything like that.
Anything that you need a total disinfecting. I have the equipment, I have the people, and whatever you need. Let's kill this virus.
All right, so what's the website?
It's marthayamas.com. Go to my website, and then you'll see everything I do and, everything about me.
All right, spell out your last name for all of our viewing audience.
I start with my name, martha.llamas.com. That's where you go.
And how do they reach you by telephone?
My phone number is 480-577-9574.
I'm wondering if our
Oh, now I'm hearing
engineer
this.
has,
Great.
I think he brought the board up too quick, but late but quick.
It's
Oh, I got it now. This is great.
At any rate, we got to turn this down a little bit
that's
so we
me.
can
Great.
all hear.
You're-
Any rate,
River.
we're here with Bobby Herbeck. You might know him as Bobby or the
Herlick.
Herlick, and the Teenage Ninja
Teenage Mutant Ninja. I'll say it,
Mutant
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
That's right.
Turtles, and
That's Mel Brooks.
And he's done a lot of different things in his life, and it's really amazing. He's a stand-up comedian, except he's sitting down.
I'm waiting for the book. He's got a lot of stories.
I am doing a book
Yeah.
called "That Nobody Hollywood Knows." I swear to God, that's the title of the book.
All right, so a lot of people don't know what a warm-up is. When you're doing a warm-up, tell us a little bit about that, because the warm-ups now are quite different. I know several people who do warm-ups in LA.
Right.
But when you were doing it for those shows...
I was the first. I'm serious. The warm-up people used to be one of the writers that go out there. Norman Lear did all the warm-ups for his shows back in
Right.
the day. It wasn't an identified category with AFTRA or SAG. It was mainly AFTRA because these were tape shows.
Yeah,
And they came to me one day and they said, "What are they paying you?" And I said, $85 with taping. That was 2 shows a day, $170 bucks. I went to ASU, excuse me on the math, $170. So at ASU it's 175. So anyway, the TV guide I just found the TV guide. They did an article on me, called The Second Banana, and I was doing these shows, which has got me into writing, and they'd always gave me a bone or gave me a featured part every year on the show, every season, on Different Strokes and Jeffersons and Facts of Life, Silver Spoons. These were the shows. And anyway, so no one really from the outside had been brought in to do an audience warm-up job, other than like an Ed McMahon. That's an audience warm-up job.
Hello.
But before Johnny goes on the air, Ed's there working the audience. He's telling them what they need to do. He's giving them cues. What's the red light? For the red lights, you're going to get applause
in the
signs going.
past, so when you think of the old vintage shows, right? They were not recorded in front of a live television audience. So they now, if you watch some of those old shows, recorded in front of a live television audience, they did that. So they needed somebody to get the crowd to be in the mood to accept the show and give some energy back to the performers. So you were one of the first, if not the first.
To my knowledge, was the first person hired outside of the show,
to warm up the audience.
To warm up an audience.
And do you know
the
how
union came to me and said, we don't have a category. We've got to get you a number for this.
So you get scale, right?
Yeah, but there wasn't a scale. They didn't know what it was. They didn't. I'm telling you the truth.
Rich
So
or
when
no
I hear-
poor, $1.75 an hour.
But listen to this. I found out years later, these guys doing warm-ups, I did Cheers. I did Cheers for a couple of shows. I didn't like film shows. I liked the video shows because they had monitors. So I could screw with the audience being on the... All you have to do is put all you got to do is put a camera on people. And they go complete. They'll do anything and they go crazy. So during the breaks, I'd have the cameraman turn the cameras. They'd see themselves on a monitor. I think half of them thought they were really being seen by the world, but they weren't.
Right.
And I have a very strong improv background, so I just went up and dove in. I had some set pieces, but I really worked up in the audience. They were grandstands, and I worked up in the audience, never down on the floor, because when I first came to work, they handed me a bucket of candy and said, just throw it to the audience. I said, they're not seals. I'm not feeding seals. I'm not throwing candy at the audience. I'm serious.
What if I hit him in the eye?
Wallace and Ladmo, we talked about
No,
them.
yeah, we did talk about it. But anyway, when you had a film show like Cheers, you didn't have monitors. And they were really hard to do because they had a band. So whenever there was a break in between to reset or go change wardrobe or something, and the girl, who was the gal that was on Cheers?
Christy Alley?
No, before her. Anyway,
Shelley.
she
Shelley
was a complete nightmare because she insisted on going off the lot to change her clothes and have her hair done, then be driven back on the lot. So that was an hour and a half that I'm out there filling.
Wow.
Then I worked on a show called Solid Gold, which was great. But it was a band would come out and play 2 numbers, and then it would be an hour to an hour and a half to reset the lights for the next band.
Oh,
wow.
And by Friday, I had no voice. And that show, I lasted about 2 years.
He probably had no
So
sleep
now,
either.
what years was this
This
happening?
would be, I think I started 80, and I did it right. I was still doing it. Dick Clark was the first person to call me when Ninja Turtles broke in the theaters that next morning, and he said, buddy, I'm so happy for you. He saw the numbers from the night before. I said, thank you. He said, I guess I've lost my warm-up guy. And I said, no, you haven't. That's just one movie. I still got to have a gig.
I got to have a job when
But
this
I
is
did.
over.
I stayed with Dick for a couple of years because Dick Clark was the most loyal man I ever knew in Hollywood. He had his people working for him were big-time DJs that he brought in when their DJ careers were over and had them, being his producers and running this, that, and that. And he really was a wonderful, loyal guy. I love Dick Clark.
Now, back then, I was on a ship. An entertainer used to come on that you probably know, Michael Berger.
Sure.
Yeah?
Sure.
So Mike Berger's a buddy of mine.
I'll be
and he
darned.
used to do warm-ups for a lot of the shows. And then, wasn't it Robert G. Lee? I don't know if he did a lot of warm-ups.
Robert G. Lee?
Yeah.
Yeah, him I don't know, but I know Berger.
There should have been a steamboat named after him, but
Also, 1972 was April of '72 is when the Comedy Store first opened, first
Right.
night, and I'm part of the pledge class of the Comedy Store. and nobody was coming to the Comedy Store. They didn't know about it. And it was the improv wasn't there yet. The only thing on Sunset was the Committee, which was the famous improv group from New York.
Right.
Sammy Shore, Rudy DeLuca opened the Comedy Store, not Mitzi. Mitzi got it in the divorce. She gets all the credit. She died. Mitzi Shore, dies, and the woman who started the Comedy Store, and Rudy DeLuca calls us, can you believe this crap? Mitzi started, no. But anyway, and then Michael Binder, another who became a producer, but he was a very young high school stand-up back then. He just did a 3 or 4 part special on the Comedy Store last year. And they called me maybe 5 times. We're going to interview. They left the pledge class out of this, and they said, this is so bogus. You got to have, because here was the group.
Right.
Here was the group at the beginning. Barry Levinson, director. Craig T. Nelson, Rudy DeLuca were a comedy team that were almost as funny as Monty Python. They were brilliant. Really? And they ended up on summer shows, like Sonny and Cher, these other shows that they have a summer show. And then Rudy, as you know, the rest is history, ended up being a great Oscar-winning director. Craig ended up being an actor forever that never stopped. And Barry and Rudy went and wrote for Carol Burnett, and I went and did work with Carol Burnett. Then Rudy and Barry got hired by Mel Brooks to come and write with him. So they worked with him on three or four movies, and then Barry went off and wrote a movie called An Injustice for All with Al Pacino.
Right.
It was a huge hit, and Barry was off. And then Barry wrote and directed Diner. That was his first movie that was a huge hit. Switch at 7:30. Should I stop now?
No.
How about I come back?
20 after.
No.
Let Ray talk.
I do have a question here. Did you ever work with Tim Conway?
Yeah, I did on the Burnett show, but more. They had a mock Burnett show that they would do, and Carol would sit on the stage, and we'd put on a show for her, and she would just sit. She had the best laugh in the world. I knew Tim very well, and I loved him.
He was one of the funniest people I think.
And he'd
I've
do
ever
this. Tim
seen
would do
in
this whenever you walked in the room, and there was Tim. He'd come up, give me your hand. He'd go like this. He'd go, "Hi, Bob Feller, Cleveland Indians, 1951. Maybe you remember me." He never said Tim Conway. So I told someone the other day, Dick Martin used to babysit me from Laughing when I was a little boy.
Oh, really?
And I meet him years later.
Was he from here, Arizona?
No, I was born in Glendale, California.
Oh, okay.
My mom was a car hop at a restaurant across from what was the old Republic Studios, and Dick Martin was the bartender. And he used to babysit me.
Really?
Forrest Tucker's mother used to babysit me. This was all like this little village.
So now when you say stand-up, of course, everybody knows what stand-up is now. But at the time, there was no such thing as stand-up, right? More the comedy that you'd go to the Catskills, you'd go to
Those were the tomb ones,
Pocono. Yeah, you'd go to some of those places if you'd want comedy, or go to Las Vegas, something. But there wasn't really a
There
place.
weren't comedy clubs,
There-
really.
Right. So you didn't.
Carlin and Richard, those guys started in New York, and they down in the village, they drop in to, I forget the names of these clubs, I should remember them. Not the Bitter, was it the Bitter Inn? They drop in and start doing some stand-up, and then that started to blaze a trail. I knew Carlin really well. I loved George. George was one of the
another
brightest
one.
people.
The hippy-dippy weatherman.
But he was just one of the most sincere, brightest people I ever met. And I'll tell you something. Steve Martin and George Carlin, if they were ever, the only time they were on was when they had to do their thing. If George came into a party, we were at a party that Sally Struthers threw once, a Christmas party, and guys are in there and everyone's doing the Duke. Well, how you doing? Good to see you, Cookie. Look who's there at the Christmas party. Well, and Carlin could do any of these guys better than anybody. He walked right past everybody and go out in the patio. So I walked out and I said, "You're not going to get in the," he says, "everybody can do, F and John Wayne, for Christ's sakes." He says, "I'm not getting into that scrum." He says, "I only do this when I'm paid." And that was Jack Benny's thing. Jack Benny said, they'd say that, because people do, they come, "Tell us a joke." And Jack Benny go, "You got some money on you?" He wasn't, "This is what I do for a living."
Yeah.
How about fixing my teeth for free and I'll tell you a joke?
Yeah.
But your stand-up thing, I just soak away from it anymore because I don't like where it's gone. It's just there's no holes barred.
No, it's completely different. When you think of people like Jay Leno, got to start there. You probably know.
Jay, I knew him. We started together.
Right.
In L.A.
Yeah. So
we would work bowling alleys. We would
Right.
work wherever.
anytime that you could get a mic in front of an
That's right.
audience,
That's
you
right.
do it. And
But you know-
Seinfeld. I mean, all of these people that you think
Jerry
just
came a little later, but
But you know, one of the things that has happened, it took a nasty turn, in my opinion, and it's an actor that I really enjoy. But Eddie Murphy turned this into a lot of filthy material.
well,
And,
I got to
his,
tell you,
his delirious. I think he just recently apologized for that whole thing. It's just a different time.
I got to tell you real quick, the Comedy Store thing, though, let me just finish this one chapter. So the Comedy Store really wasn't, there was so few comics that we were doing 3 shows a night.
Right.
Now you're lucky to get on open mic night.
You get 7-10 minutes. That's it. Go out there.
But, well, we did a little more then. But what happened was Red Fox was our godfather.
Oh,
Red found the Comedy Store. He came in there and he was like the godfather. If you had the chops, you had the talent, you couldn't have had a better mentor. He would tell you, go up there and be a mother, you know what. But if you were good, he let you know you were good and not to give up. And then I found a little club in Beverly Hills called Ye Little Club. And I'd go in there, and that's where Joan Rivers and Phyllis Diller would work out. And the guy that owned the club, I got in one that night and did the little boy cutesy thing, and he let me get up and do 5 minutes. He said, you can come and work here anytime. Plus, Joan was there, and she said, the kid's got it. And so Joan said, let him work, use this room. And Joan was so good to me because she said, don't ever quit. And Tommy Smothers, who became a friend.
Yeah.
Tommy called me a chicken because I hate Vegas. I played Vegas, I hated it.
Yeah.
But I was usually in the lounge, so you're hearing machines going, people are smoking, and I'm going, God, I'd rather work the cruise ship.
Can't breathe, and
Telling him
there you go.
It was, I just had a...
Now, what about Jonathan Winters?
My favorite.
Yeah.
Another
The guy was
creative
brilliant.
genius.
Just
I got a
brilliant.
little time with John.
Brilliant. Yeah.
My favorite. But
When I saw
grew up.
him in that movie, It's a Mad World.
Oh,
Stanley Kramer, who gave me my first movie I did as an actor was Tora, Tora, Tora.
That's what you said, yes.
But at the same Fox Studios was shooting. At the same time, they were shooting MASH. Robert Altman, Burt Remsen, character actor, and Robert's casting director, saw me and Gary Bergdorf and Wendell Burton in a play, You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown, at the Ivor Theater in Hollywood. It became a strip club later, but brought us in. We read.
Just because of that play,
Sure.
they became a strip club.
Altman, Burt calls my agent Lou and says, Bob wants Bobby to play Radar in MASH. And Lou goes, now he's on hold for Tora, Tora, Tora with Richard Fleischer. And of course, I'm new in Hollywood, brand new, and I've got the scripts. And I said to Lou, I said, it's a better part. Well, he thought I was he used to handle Alan Ladd. He saw me as the next Alan Ladd, little guy with a kind of a deep voice. And anyway, this was his. And I says, I really want to do the. He said, no one's going to go see that piece of shit.
Wow.
Everybody's going to see Tora, Tora. It's got an intermission. I says, I don't care if it's got an intermission. So I end up in Tora, Tora, which is history now. And they show it every Pearl Harbor day. I go to my wife. We wake up in the morning and go, we made $17 a day, honey. Where do you want to go? In-N-Out Burger? And they play it they play it throughout the year, but always Pearl Harbor Day.
Get residuals on it once a
And
year.
my agent would have said to this day, he'd have said, see, MASH wouldn't have played on Pearl Harbor Day. So anyway, then I did a part on MASH on the series. And I walked in, my scene was in the operating room, and we're in there, and Gary pulls everybody in, Alan Alda, this was the early group.
All right.
Puts his arm around me, he tells his story to everybody. And Alan Alda, they all have medical insurance, and Alan Alda goes, schmuck, to me, and they start throwing these, like I'm a dartboard. I dive under the operating table.
Scalpels.
I'm looking at Gary
three.
Hank, and I said, you stop with this thing, So I want to thank Bobby for the ranch, for the motorhome, for my kids' education. Okay, stop. You can stop now.
Wow.
So, but it wasn't meant to be. I tell people, I'd have never written Ninja Turtles.
That's right.
Huh?
Yeah. So you would have been Radar O'Reilly.
That's
Radar
right.
O'Reilly.
And where would
From
Gary
Ottumwa-
Bergdorf be right now?
from
He probably
Ottumwa,
would have written
Iowa.
Ninja Turtles.
From
But anyway,
Ottumwa.
please, I'm sorry. So I swear I'll finish. So what happened was when Red came in the Comedy Store and saw he started to get up, so then Richie came in prior, and he came in working it. And so when they would go on the Tonight Show and Merv Griffin and Mike Douglas, they would talk about the Comedy Store. Well, you got the whole country watching. They said, well,
Yeah.
Harry, when we go out to California to Disneyland, we got to go to this Comedy Store. They built the audience for the Comedy Store by doing that. They got people to come, and then here came more comics. Started filling, but I mean, this started with like a seed. I mean, the rest is history.
It was a brilliant idea.
It's a great idea.
Because there was nobody else doing it.
And then Bud Freeman brought the improv a couple of years later.
Well, cowabunga, dudes! I hear more music.
Where's the pizza? I thought you were going to supply pizza tonight.
Yeah, well, I ate
just
it
for the
on the way here.
turtles.
Okay, well, we're going to move into our next section here.
Yeah, don't you have Bob's coming up, right?
Bobby, well, we got Bob Laturi, but we have Trey next, and we're going to be talking to him.
Okay.
And we thank you for being here, Kawabunga.
I gotta go, but I have 100 more stories.
All right, now where
are
can they
gonna have
see?
you
I know
back.
that
I'm
everybody's going to be going
mesmerized by this.
online. They're going to watch Tora, and which character are you playing?
God's truth. People say, when are you in? It was just on last week, and my buddies go.
We're going to have to close this down.
Hour 42, I'm out in hour 44.
All right.
And what part did you play?
Well, I'm flying in a B-17 bombers, and we don't know what's going on.
Wow.
And I'm the
Okay,
guy, so
guys, we got
it.
to cut this quick.
So we're going to see you on the other
guitar
side. Do
players
not
continue
go away, and Bobby
you.
Herbeck will be back.
Thank you, fellas.
That's right.
Merry Christmas.